Welcome to Dolphin Dive Daily, your go-to spot for everything Miami Dolphins. If you bleed aqua and orange, hit that subscribe button and join the pod. Is Mike McDaniel the right man to lead the Dolphins to the ultimate glory? As we wrap up our Super Bowl series, we find ourselves returning to one of the most intriguing questions surrounding the Miami Dolphins. Can Mike McDaniel take this team to a Super Bowl? In the previous entries, we've examined the influence of owner Stephen Ross and how his decisions impact the franchise's quest for a championship. Now, it's time to shift our focus to the man who will ultimately guide the team on the field, the head coach. Mike McDaniel, hired in 2022, arrived with high expectations. In the ever-competitive world of the NFL, every season is a fresh opportunity to aim for the ultimate prize, the Super Bowl. But what makes McDaniel the man to get the Dolphins there? Is he the one who can finally end the team's long drought and deliver a championship, or will he fall short like so many before him? As we dive deeper into this question, we'll explore McDaniel's strengths that make him a compelling choice to lead the Dolphins, as well as the obstacles that could hinder his journey. So, let's examine the factors that define his potential for success in Miami, as well as the challenges that lie ahead. When Mike McDaniel was hired as the Dolphins head coach, one of the first things that came to mind was his reputation as an offensive genius. His approach to the game, particularly on offense, is innovative, creative, and daring. McDaniel wasted no time putting his stamp on the Dolphins' attack, and the results have been impressive. One of his standout contributions to Miami's offensive system is the cheat motion concept. This strategy involves a wide receiver moving in motion before the ball is snapped, giving the player a head start as the play begins. Take Tyreek Hill, for example. With this motion, Hill already has a few steps on the defense by the time the ball is in Tagovailoa's hands. This head start allows the offense to create mismatches and exploit the defense in creative ways. And it's not just Hill who benefits from this system. Players like Jalen Waddle, Devon Achane, and even Jonnu Smith have thrived under McDaniel's schemes, making Miami's offense one of the most exciting and unpredictable in the league. With the core players still under contract, we can expect McDaniel to continue refining and expanding this dynamic system, potentially leading to even more offensive fireworks in 2025. The ability to innovate and keep defenses guessing is a hallmark of McDaniel's coaching philosophy. And if he can continue to evolve his playbook, the Dolphins' offense could become an unstoppable force. Leadership is often one of the most debated topics in the NFL. From authoritarian figures to players-coaches, the spectrum is wide, but McDaniel brings a refreshing authenticity to the Dolphins' locker room. Unlike previous head coaches, such as Brian Flores, who were known for their more intense, no-nonsense approaches, McDaniel stands out for his genuine care for his players. There is a distinct human element to McDaniel's leadership style. He fosters a sense of camaraderie and respect within the team, taking the time to connect with his players both on and off the field. This type of leadership not only helps to build trust, but also motivates players to perform at their best. McDaniel has proven to be a coach who genuinely values his players, understanding that a connected, unified locker room is critical for success. One moment that perfectly exemplifies McDaniel's leadership came after the Dolphins' victory over the San Francisco 49ers. His passion in the post-game speech was evident, and it didn't go unnoticed. The image of Stephen Ross handing McDaniel the game ball was a symbolic gesture of respect and recognition, showing that the Dolphins' owner believes in his coach's potential. For McDaniel, this wasn't just another win. It was a moment that solidified his place as the leader of this team, and it demonstrated the fire and dedication that fuels his coaching. McDaniel's leadership is crucial, especially when the pressure intensifies as the season progresses. If he can continue to inspire and motivate his players, there's no telling how far this team can go under his guidance. When we look at McDaniel's track record, it's clear that he has faced his fair share of challenges. As of now, his regular season record stands at 28-23, a solid start for any head coach, especially one in their first few years. The journey hasn't been without its hurdles, though. Injuries have plagued key players, and the strength of schedule hasn't always worked in Miami's favor. These factors have made McDaniel's job more difficult than many realize. Looking ahead to 2025, the Dolphins face a daunting schedule. Games against the Baltimore Ravens, Buffalo Bills, Los Angeles Chargers, and Pittsburgh Steelers will test the limits of Miami's talent and coaching. Yet, this is not necessarily a negative. While some may see it as a challenge, McDaniel sees it as an opportunity to prove his worth against some of the league's best teams. These tough opponents will serve as a litmus test for McDaniel's coaching abilities. If he can guide the Dolphins to victories in these high-pressure games, it will only strengthen his case as a top-tier head coach capable of leading Miami to the playoffs and beyond. However, not everything is set in stone. There's a lingering concern that could threaten McDaniel's tenure as head coach: the shadow of Stephen Ross. The Dolphins owner has a history of quick decisions when it comes to firing head coaches, and McDaniel's future may not be entirely secure. Ross has already cycled through 3 head coaches since 2012, and the pressure to win is ever present. For McDaniel to keep his job, he needs to ensure that the team not only makes the playoffs, but also advances deep into the postseason. A playoff win, especially one at home in Hard Rock Stadium, would be a major milestone for the franchise. However, McDaniel must be careful not to let the outside pressures, both from ownership and the media, distract him from the ultimate goal: winning a championship. This is where the real test of McDaniel's character and leadership will come into play. If he can continue to keep his team focused, stay true to his innovative coaching style, and adapt when necessary, he may just be the man to break Miami's Super Bowl drought. Mike McDaniel's strengths, his innovative offense, authentic leadership, and solid track record, make him a promising candidate to lead the Miami Dolphins to a Super Bowl. He has shown time and time again that he can think outside the box and adapt to the ever-changing landscape of the NFL. But with the looming uncertainty of Stephen Ross's influence and the pressure to perform in a high-stakes environment, McDaniel's true test has only just begun. Will McDaniel prove to be the coach who ends Miami's 50-year wait for a Super Bowl title? Or will the weight of expectations, combined with the challenges of the NFL, become too much to overcome? Only time will tell, but one thing is certain: McDaniel's journey is just getting started, and it promises to be an exciting ride for Dolphins fans. Still with us? Then show some love. Hit that like button and let us know in the comments. What's your take on the Fins this week? Tua Tagovailoa shocked the entire Miami Dolphins fan base when news broke that he was leaving the team after such a promising start to his career. Just when Dolphins fans were beginning to feel confident about their future under the young quarterback, the unthinkable happened. In a move that stunned the NFL world, Tagovailoa made the decision to join one of the Dolphins' biggest rivals, forever altering the landscape of the AFC East and reshaping the future of both teams. For years, the Dolphins have been in search of stability at the quarterback position, and when Tua was drafted 5th overall in the 2020 NFL Draft, the hopes of a franchise were pinned on his shoulders. The Miami Dolphins had their quarterback of the future, or so they thought. His early years were filled with ups and downs, with some dazzling performances that had fans dreaming of a return to glory, mixed with frustrating inconsistencies and nagging injuries that raised questions about his durability and future in Miami. However, there was no denying that Tua had all the potential to be a star. His ability to read defenses, his quick release, and his overall poise in the pocket were all qualities that made him a promising leader. In 2022, Tua even put together an impressive campaign, showing flashes of brilliance with elite passing numbers, especially when connecting with his top wide receivers. But, despite his promising play, the Dolphins continued to be a team in transition, and there was a lingering feeling that Tua might not be the long-term answer. The 2023 season, however, was supposed to be the year where everything clicked. Miami had built a potent offensive attack around him, featuring a deep receiving core led by Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, and an improved defensive line. The Dolphins were poised to make a run at the AFC East title, and with Tua under center, expectations were high. He seemed to be entering his prime, playing some of the best football of his career, and the future was looking bright. The combination of Tua's accuracy and the explosive nature of Miami's offense made them a serious contender. But just as the team seemed to be gaining momentum, everything took an unexpected turn. Rumors had been swirling for weeks about Tua's future in Miami, but nothing had prepared anyone for the shocking announcement that he would be leaving the Dolphins. Even more surprising was the fact that Tua had signed with a rival team in the AFC East, the New England Patriots. It felt like a gut punch to Dolphins fans. The quarterback who had been touted as the future of their franchise was now joining their most bitter division rival, the team that had dominated the AFC East for 2 decades under Tom Brady. It was a move that seemed impossible, yet somehow it had become a reality. The Patriots, a team that had been in flux ever since Brady's departure, were in desperate need of a quarterback to lead them back to prominence. Despite having some talented pieces on both sides of the ball, New England had struggled to find the right leader at quarterback. Mac Jones, who had shown some promise as a rookie, had not quite developed into the player the Patriots had hoped for, leaving them with a glaring hole under center. Enter Tua Tagovailoa. For the Patriots, signing Tua was a bold statement that they were ready to move forward with a new era. In many ways, it was a perfect fit. Tua's quick release and decision-making could fit well into the Patriots system, and with a solid supporting cast in New England, the team was hoping to return to playoff contention sooner rather than later. The shockwaves of Tua's departure sent ripples throughout the NFL. For Dolphins fans, it was a moment of disbelief. How could this happen? How could their young star leave for a team that had been their biggest rival for decades? It was a blow to the Dolphins' future, and the uncertainty surrounding the quarterback position now looms large. With Tua out the door, the Dolphins are left to find their next leader. The team has already begun looking at other quarterbacks in the league, and rumors have circulated about potential trades or signings to fill the void left by Tua's departure. But no matter what happens, there's no replacing the impact that Tua had on the franchise, even if it was for just a few short years. For the New England Patriots, however, this is a move that could catapult them back into the conversation as a legitimate AFC contender. The Patriots have always been known for their strong defensive play, and with Tua now in the fold, they believe they have the missing piece on offense to complement their defensive prowess. Bill Belichick, who has seen it all in his storied career, now has a new quarterback to mold into a winner, and there's no doubt that he will do everything in his power to get the best out of Tua. If Tua can stay healthy and play up to his potential, he could be the quarterback that leads the Patriots back to the top of the AFC East. But the impact of this move goes far beyond just the Patriots and Dolphins. The AFC East, which has been a one-team division for so long, is now wide open. The Buffalo Bills, who have dominated the division in recent years, now have to contend with both the Dolphins and Patriots, both of whom are rebuilding in their own ways. The Jets, too, have been on the rise with their young roster, so the competition in the AFC East has never been fiercer. Tua's departure from Miami to join the Patriots marks the end of an era for the Dolphins and the beginning of something new in New England. While the Dolphins now find themselves in an uncertain position at quarterback, the Patriots have injected new life into their franchise. The ramifications of this move will be felt for years to come, as both teams try to rebuild and reassert themselves in the ever-competitive AFC East. As the season progresses, the storyline of Tua Tagovailoa facing off against his former team will undoubtedly be one of the most anticipated matchups of the year. Dolphins fans, still in shock, will have to come to terms with the fact that their quarterback of the future is now the face of their most hated rival. And as for Tua, it's clear that he is ready for a fresh start in New England. The next chapter of his career has begun, and whether it's a success or failure, one thing is certain. It will be a story that will be told for years to come. Tua Tagovailoa's decision to leave the Dolphins for the Patriots is one of the most shocking moves in recent NFL memory, and its consequences will be felt across the league for a long time. The AFC East just got a whole lot more interesting. That's a wrap for today's dive. If you're loving the content, share it with a fellow Dolphins fan, hit subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a splash. Fins up.